The massive view screen aboard the warship Dominance showed Earth rotating peacefully in the darkness of space. Commander Redscale's tail twitched with irritation as he watched the blue planet. 3 months of strategic positioning, displays of overwhelming firepower, and countless threats had yielded nothing but polite diplomatic messages from the humans. "Status report," he growled, his scaled fingers drumming against the command chair's metallic surface. Officer Greencrest looked up from his station. "All weapons systems are at full power, Commander. The fleet is in position around their planet's natural satellite. We are ready to begin the final phase." Redscale stood up, his impressive height making even the spacious bridge feel small. His species had conquered 12 solar systems before this one, yet none had been so frustrating. The humans showed no fear, no panic. They simply watched, waited, and sent messages about peaceful resolution and cultural exchange. "Begin the transmission," he ordered. The crew rushed to comply, their scales reflecting the soft blue glow of their control panels. The commander's image appeared on every broadcasting channel across Earth. His reptilian features, which had terrified so many species before, filled screens worldwide. "People of Earth," he began, his universal translator converting his natural hisses into human speech. "Your time for decision has ended. You have witnessed our power. Your primitive sensors have recorded our fleet's capabilities. The demonstration of force that destroyed your abandoned space station should have made our superiority clear." He paused for effect, remembering how that display had reduced other civilizations to immediate surrender. "You will submit to the authority of the Galactic Dominion, or we will demonstrate our weapons on populated targets. You have 1 planetary rotation tow." "Sir," Greencrest interrupted, his voice unusually high-pitched. "A vessel is approaching from the planet's surface." Redscale spun around. "Show me." The view screen shifted to display a small human ship, barely a quarter the size of the Dominance. It moved steadily through space, making no attempt to hide or evade detection. "That's impossible," Officer Bluespine muttered from the tactical station. "Our sensors show minimal weapons, no energy signatures matching our database of human military technology, just standard propulsion and life support systems." Redscale's eyes narrowed. "They dare to approach us with such a pathetic vessel. Scan for hidden weapons." "Already done, sir," Bluespine replied. There's just one unusual reading. A secure containment unit in their cargo hold. Life signs detected, but the pattern doesn't match anything in our database." A communication request flashed on the main screen. Redscale straightened his ceremonial armor and nodded. "Accept the transmission." The screen split to show a human male sitting calmly in what appeared to be a simple command chair. He wore no military uniform, just plain dark clothing. His face showed neither fear nor anger. If anything, he looked slightly amused. "Good morning," the human said pleasantly. "I'm Captain Jack. I've been sent to discuss your rather dramatic ultimatum." Redscale's tail lashed in agitation. "There is nothing to discuss, human. Submit or face destruction." Jack smiled. "You know, it's interesting you mentioned destruction. We humans have quite a history with that concept, but we've also learned there's always room for alternative approaches. Your primitive species cannot hope to resist us." Redscale snarled. "Our fleet could reduce your cities to ash within moments." "Could you?" Jack asked, raising an eyebrow. "That's fascinating. But before you do that, perhaps you'd be interested in seeing how we handle threats to our world. I brought along a demonstration that might change your perspective." The casual tone made Redscale's scales itch with uncertainty. He had faced desperate last stands before, seen the fear in countless alien eyes. But this human showed no signs of desperation or fear. "What trick is this?" he demanded. "Our scans show your vessel is virtually unarmed." Jack's smile widened just a fraction. "Sometimes the most effective solutions aren't about weapons at all. Would you like to see what we brought? I promise it will be educational." In that moment, despite all his battle experience and tactical training, Commander Red Scale felt something he hadn't experienced in years: doubt. Commander Red Scale's claws dug into his command chair as he watched the human captain on the view screen. The small Earth vessel hung in space before his mighty warship, like a pebble before a mountain. Yet something about Captain Jack's calm demeanor made his scales itch with unease. "Tell me, Commander," Jack said casually, leaning back in his chair, "have you studied Earth's history during your 3 months of watching us?" "We have no interest in your primitive past," Red Scale snapped. "Our concerns are with the present and your immediate surrender." Jack nodded thoughtfully. "That's a shame. You see, humans have a long history of being underestimated. It's led to some rather surprising outcomes." Officer Greencrest's voice cut through the tension. "Commander, the life form readings from their cargo hold are fluctuating. The energy pattern is unlike anything in our database." Red Scale's eyes narrowed. "What weapon are you hiding, human? What trick is this?" "Weapon?" Jack chuckled. "Oh no, I wouldn't call it a weapon. More of a partner. A friend, you might say. Though I suppose that concept might be foreign to your species." Blue Spine's fingers flew across his console. "Sir, the containment unit in their cargo hold is heavily shielded. Our scans can't penetrate it fully, but the life form inside appears to be moving." "Moving?" Red Scale's tail twitched. "Explain." "The readings suggest it's pacing, sir, back and forth, almost like it's waiting." Jack's voice drew their attention back to the screen. "You know, Commander, one thing humans learned early in our development was that raw power isn't everything. Sometimes, the greatest strength comes from unexpected places." "Enough games," Red Scale roared. "Show us this partner of yours, or we will open fire." "Patience, Commander. First, let me ask you something. Do your people have any creatures on your homeworld you formed bonds with? Any species you've grown alongside through the ages?" The alien crew exchanged confused looks. Red Scale's frustration grew. "We conquered the lesser beings of our world, as is natural. The strong dominate the weak." "Ah," Jack nodded. "That explains a lot. You see, humans took a different approach. We learned to cooperate with other species, to form partnerships, to grow together." Greencrest suddenly jerked in his seat. "Commander, the life form's vital signs are intensifying. Its heart rate is increasing, and its muscle density readings are impossible." "What kind of biological weapon have you created?" Red Scale demanded. Jack's smile widened slightly. "Created? Oh no, Commander. We didn't create anything. We simply made friends. Very, very good friends." A low sound came through the communication channel. Something deep, rumbling, and utterly alien to Red Scale's ears. "What was that?" Blue Spine asked, his scales paling slightly. "That," Jack said innocently. "That's just my friends saying hello. Would you like to meet them? I assure you, they're very eager to demonstrate what a partnership between species can achieve." Red Scale felt his crew's unease growing. The humans' confidence made no sense. Their scans showed no weapons, no advanced technology, just this mysterious life form that defied their understanding. "Sir," Greencrest reported, voice shaking slightly, "the life form's brain activity is off the charts. It's showing signs of both high intelligence and something our systems can't classify. The closest match in our database there is no match." "Last chance, Commander," Jack said softly. "Would you prefer to talk peacefully, or would you like to see what Earth's partnership with other species has produced?" The sound came again, louder this time. A deep, resonant woof that somehow made Red Scale's ancient instincts stir with warning. "Show us," he commanded, trying to keep his voice steady. "Show us this partner of yours." Jack's smile never wavered. "As you wish, Commander. I should warn you, though, what you're about to see might challenge everything you think you know about strength, intelligence, and the true meaning of beast. The cargo bay doors of the human vessel began to open, and in the shadows within, something moved. The entire bridge of the Dominance fell silent as the cargo bay doors of the human vessel slowly opened. Commander Redscale leaned forward in his command chair, his claws flexing with anticipation. After all the humans' cryptic words about partnership and friendship, surely their secret weapon would be something devastating. The darkness of the cargo hold gave way to light, revealing a simple metal container. Its door swung open, and out stepped a four-legged creature with fur, pointed ears, and a long snout. What is this?" Redscale stammered, his tail going completely still in confusion. "Commander," Jack said proudly, "meet Max, one of Earth's finest German shepherds. Max, say hello to our alien friends." The dog sat at attention, its intelligent eyes focused on the view screen. Then it tilted its head back and let out a clear, strong bark that echoed through both ships' communication systems. This is your ultimate defender." Redscale's voice mixed anger and disbelief. "You mock us with some simple animal." Officer Greencrest's hands flew over his console. "Sir, the readings. This creature's muscle density is remarkable. Its sensory capabilities exceed our own in several areas. And its brain patterns, they're incredibly complex." "Max here comes from a long line of working dogs," Jack explained calmly, reaching down to pat the shepherd's head. "His ancestors have served alongside humans for thousands of years. Police work, military operations, search and rescue, therapy. There's very little these amazing animals can't do." Bluespine looked up from his tactical station. "Commander, scanning indicates this species has been selectively bred for specific traits. Their genetic structure shows signs of extensive optimization." "You mean they engineered this beast?" Redscale demanded. Jack shook his head. "Not engineered. We partnered with them. Over generations, we learned to work together. They chose to stay with us, to protect us, to become part of our families. In return, we helped them become stronger, smarter, more capable. It's called domestication, something your species seems to have never discovered." Max stood up and moved closer to Jack's chair, his movements fluid and graceful despite the zero-gravity environment. His ears perked forward, alert and attentive to every sound. "This is absurd," Redscale snarled. "You expect us to believe this furry creature is some kind of warrior." "Warrior? No, Max is much more than that. He's a friend, a protector, a partner. He can track scents that would be impossible for humans to detect, hear sounds far beyond our range, and yes, if needed, he can fight with strength and courage that would surprise you." Jack scratched behind Max's ears. "But what makes him truly special is his loyalty and intelligence. He understands commands in multiple languages, can solve complex problems, and would give his life to protect his human companions." The alien crew watched in fascination as Max responded to a series of small hand signals from Jack, performing precise movements and actions without a single verbal command. "Impossible," Redscale whispered. "No mere animal could." "That's your first mistake, Commander," Jack interrupted gently. "Thinking of them as mere animals. Humans learned long ago that intelligence and worth come in many forms. Every species has its own kinds of wisdom, its own strengths. By working together, we become more than we could ever be alone." Max turned his attention back to the view screen, his eyes seeming to lock directly onto Redscale's. The alien commander felt an unexpected shiver run down his spine. There was something in that gaze, not the simple stare of a beast, but the calculated assessment of an intelligent being. "Sir," Greencrest reported quietly, "the creature's brain activity suggests it's actually analyzing us, studying our movements, our positions, like a trained tactical officer." "Perhaps," Jack suggested with a slight smile, "you'd like a demonstration of what Max can do. I promise it will be quite educational, though your boarding parties might find it a bit uncomfortable." Max's ears perked forward at the word demonstration, and his mouth opened in what appeared to be a grin, revealing rows of impressive teeth. The sight made several alien crew members step back from their stations instinctively, though they couldn't explain why. Commander Redscale had faced many challenges in his military career, but none quite like this. The human's ultimate defender was nothing more than a furry animal. Clearly, this called for a show of force. "Enough of this foolishness," he growled. "Prepare the boarding party. We'll see how impressive this beast is up close." Jack's smile never wavered. "Are you sure about that, Commander? Max is always eager to meet new friends, but he takes protecting this ship very seriously. Launch the pods." Redscale ordered. 3 boarding vessels detached from the Dominance, each carrying 5 of his best soldiers in full combat armor. Jack turned to his companion. "Well, Max, looks like we have some guests coming. Ready to show them what you can do." Max's ears perked up, and his entire body tensed with focused energy. Gone was the friendly, tail-wagging creature. In its place stood a professional guardian, alert and prepared. The boarding pods locked onto the human vessel's airlocks. Redscale watched with satisfaction as his troops began cutting through the outer doors. "Now we'll see what your partner is really capable of." "Max," Jack said calmly, "protect and contain. No lethal force." The shepherd's understanding was immediate. He moved to a ready position, his powerful muscles coiled like springs. The first airlock burst open. 2 alien soldiers in heavy armor stepped through, weapons raised. Their helmet sensors swept the corridor, looking for threats. What happened next left the watching alien crew speechless. Max moved like a shadow, silent despite the metal floor. The first soldier barely had time to register movement before the shepherd's powerful jaws clamped onto his weapon arm. With a quick twist, the gun went flying. Before the second soldier could react, Max had already released the first one and launched himself at the newcomer's legs, knocking them off balance and the artificial gravity. "Impossible," Redscale shouted. "Their armor can withstand energy weapons." "Yes," Jack agreed pleasantly, "but it wasn't designed to deal with 85 pounds of focused muscle and bone, moving at high speed with tactical intelligence. Max, by the way, can bite with around 250 pounds of pressure when he needs to." The second group of soldiers emerged from their airlock just in time to see Max leap off a wall, using it as a springboard to come at them from an unexpected angle. His teeth found the weak spots in their armored joints with surgical precision, not breaking through, but applying enough pressure to make the soldiers very aware of their vulnerability. "Sir," Green Crest reported in awe, "the creature is targeting mobility points and weapon holds exclusively. This isn't random animal violence, it's trained tactical engagement." The third group tried to surround Max, but the shepherd was always one step ahead. He dodged energy bolts with incredible agility, used the narrow corridors to control his opponent's movements, and systematically disarmed or disabled each soldier. Within minutes, 15 of the galaxy's most elite troops were retreating to their pods, many of them moving with noticeable limps. Not one had managed to land a solid hit on Max, who now sat calmly in the corridor, tongue lolling out as if he'd just enjoyed a pleasant game. "Good boy," Jack said warmly, tossing Max a treat. The shepherd caught it midair with gentle precision, then immediately returned to his alert posture. Redscale stared at the screen in disbelief. One animal did this, without weapons. "Max is trained in non-lethal containment," Jack explained. "If this had been a real fight..." He left the sentence unfinished. "But more importantly, Commander, this was just a small demonstration of what partnership between species can achieve. Max chose to work with us, to protect us. Not because we dominated him, but because we respect and care for each other." The alien commander looked at his tactical display, where the medical readouts from his soldiers were streaming in. No serious injuries, but their armor, designed to withstand the most advanced weapons in the galaxy, was scored with teeth marks. More importantly, their confidence was shaken. And Commander, Jack added softly, Max is just one of millions of dogs on Earth, each with their own skills, their own specialties, and their own human partners, still interested in testing our defenses. Commander Redscale sat heavily in his command chair, his eyes fixed on the screen where Max had returned to sitting calmly beside Captain Jack. The shepherd's tail wagged slightly, as if he hadn't just thoroughly humbled 15 of the galaxy's most elite soldiers. Tell me, Redscale said slowly, how did this partnership begin? Jack smiled, clearly pleased by the genuine curiosity in the commander's voice. It started thousands of years ago. Some wolves began following human camps, eating our leftover food. Over time, the friendlier ones stayed closer. They helped us hunt, warned us of dangers, kept us warm at night. We shared our food, provided shelter, treated their injuries. Wolves, Blue Spine asked, his scales twitching with interest. You mean this creature descended from apex predators? Yes, Jack nodded, scratching behind Max's ears. Through careful breeding over many generations, we developed different types of dogs for different purposes. Some for hunting, some for herding, some for protection, some just for companionship. Greencrest's fingers flew over his console. Sir, accessing Earth's data networks now. There are hundreds of distinct breeds, each optimized for specific tasks. The genetic diversity is remarkable. Redscale leaned forward. And they all fight like this one. Oh no, Jack laughed. Max here is specially trained for protection and tactical work. Other dogs have completely different skills. Some can smell diseases in humans before any symptoms show. Some can find people buried under rubble after disasters. Some help humans with disabilities live independent lives. Some comfort sick children in hospitals. The alien crew exchanged confused looks. Max tilted his head, watching their reactions with obvious intelligence. You mean, Redscale said carefully, you didn't just breed them for war. War, Jack shook his head. That's a very small part of what dogs do. Here, let me show you something. He turned to Max. Max, where's your toy? The shepherd's ears perked up. He trotted over to a corner of the bridge and returned with a simple rubber ball, tail wagging with excitement. Watch this, Jack said. He took the ball and pretended to throw it. Max stayed perfectly still, eyes tracking Jack's empty hand. See, he knows I'm trying to trick him. The intelligence tests we've done suggest dogs can understand around 150 words, read human body language better than most humans can, and show emotional intelligence comparable to a human toddler. Emotional intelligence? Blue Spine asked. They can understand human feelings, offer comfort when we're sad, share our joy when we're happy. They form deep emotional bonds with their human families, Jack demonstrated by pretending to cry. Immediately, Max pressed against his leg and looked up with concerned eyes. See, he knows something's wrong and wants to help. Redscale watched the interaction with growing fascination. And these bonds, they're voluntary. Completely, Jack confirmed. You can't force a dog to love you or trust you. They choose to be our partners. That's what makes the relationship so special. Sir, Greencrest reported, I'm finding thousands of documented cases where dogs have risked or given their lives to save humans. Not just trained ones like this, but ordinary family pets. Because that's what partners do, Jack said softly. They look out for each other. Every dog is different, just like every human is different. But that loyalty, that willingness to protect their loved ones, that runs deep in all of them. Max suddenly stood up, ears forward, focused on something none of them could detect. What is it, boy? Jack asked. Greencrest checked his instruments. Sir, long-range sensors are picking up a small meteor shower approaching the human ship's position. The dogs somehow sensed it before our equipment did. Their senses are incredibly sharp, Jack explained. Hearing that can detect frequencies we can't. A sense of smell thousands of times more sensitive than ours. Ability to feel subtle vibrations through their paws. Sometimes they can even sense when earthquakes are coming or detect certain diseases by smell. Red Scale stood up and walked closer to the screen, studying Max with new eyes. The shepherd met his gaze steadily, neither aggressive nor fearful, just watchful, alert, ready to act if needed but comfortable in his role as guardian and friend. Perhaps, the commander said slowly, we have much to learn about different kinds of strength. Would you like to see what else Max can do? Jack asked, noting the genuine interest that had replaced the hostility in Commander Redscale's eyes. There's much more to him than combat skills. The alien commander nodded slowly. Show us. Jack stood up from his captain's chair. First, let's demonstrate some search and rescue work. Commander, would you mind if one of your crew hid something with their scent on it somewhere on my ship? Red Scale turned to Blue Spine, who hesitated only briefly before removing a small medallion from his uniform. The boarding pods were still connected to Jack's ship, so the tactical officer made his way through one of them, found a hiding spot, and returned. Now watch this, Jack said. He held the medallion to Max's nose. Find it, boy. Max's nose went to work immediately. His entire demeanor changed. Gone was the tactical alertness, replaced by focused enthusiasm. He moved through the ship's corridors with purpose, nose working constantly, tail wagging with excitement. Sir, Green Crest reported, watching through the ship's internal cameras. The dog is systematically checking each area, moving in a search pattern. This isn't random. It's organized. Within 2 minutes, Max stopped at a maintenance panel 20 meters away, pawing gently at it and looking back at the camera. When Jack opened it, there was the medallion, tucked behind some wiring. That's not just scent work, Jack explained as he retrieved the medallion. That's problem solving. He knew the scent was coming from behind the panel, so he had to communicate its location to me. Now let's try something different. Jack set up a simple puzzle, a treat hidden inside a box with a series of latches. Max watched carefully as it was assembled, his head tilted in concentration. The box can only be opened in a specific sequence, Jack explained. Watch how he figures it out. The alien crew leaned forward, fascinated as Max approached the box. He examined it carefully, tried one latch, then another, clearly working out the pattern. Within minutes, he had the box open and claimed his reward. Intelligence testing shows that adult dogs have problem-solving abilities similar to a 2-year-old human child, Jack said. But they also have skills humans don't. Max, what's different? Max immediately began sniffing the air, then walked to a specific panel in the wall and sat down, looking at it intently. Sir, Green Crest exclaimed, checking his readings. There's a minor power fluctuation in that exact section of their ship. Nothing dangerous, but how did he know? Dogs can sense things we can't, Jack explained. Changes in electromagnetic fields, subtle vibrations, minute scent changes. They've helped us detect everything from electrical problems to underground gas leaks. Red Scale's tail swished thoughtfully. And all this from an animal you didn't engineer or force to serve you. Watch this last demonstration, Jack said. He walked to the other side of the bridge and pretended to trip, falling to the floor with a cry of pain. Max's reaction was immediate. He rushed to Jack's side, but not in a panic. He checked on his human partner, then ran to the medical kit mounted on the wall, pawing at it deliberately. He knows where the medical supplies are, and the humans need them when injured, Jack explained, getting up. Not because we programmed him, but because he cares. He wants to help. The dog returned to Jack's side, pressing against his leg as if making sure he was really okay. When Jack smiled and patted his head, Max's tail wagged with obvious relief. This is what partnership means, Jack said softly. It's not about dominance or control. It's about trust, understanding, and mutual care. Every dog is different. They have their own personalities, their own quirks, their own special skills. But this willingness to work with us, to protect us, to be part of our families, That's something they all share. Commander Red Scale watched as Max did a final check of the bridge, moving with both professional focus and obvious affection for his surroundings and his human companion. The alien leader was beginning to understand that he had discovered something far more significant than a mere weapon or tool. He had found evidence of something his species had never achieved. True partnership between different forms of life. Commander Red Scale stood before the main view screen of the Dominance, facing not just Captain Jack and Max, but his own preconceptions about strength, intelligence, and power. The last few hours had changed everything. He thought he knew about domination and control. "Send the signal," he ordered quietly. "Tell the fleet to stand down." His crew looked at him in surprise, but moved quickly to comply. One by one, the massive warships surrounding Earth powered down their weapons. The planet below continued its peaceful rotation, unaware of how close it had come to conflict, and how a single dog had helped prevent it. "A wise decision, Commander," Jack said with a gentle smile. Max sat alertly beside him, somehow looking both professional and friendly at the same time. "I must know," Red Scale said, his voice thoughtful. "How many of these dogs do you have on Earth?" Jack's smile widened. "Currently, about 900 million. Everything from tiny companion dogs to large working breeds. Each one with its own personality, its own skills, its own bond with their human family." The alien commander's tail twitched as he calculated the implications. "And they all share this loyalty, this willingness to protect. It's in their nature," Jack nodded. "Though Max here is specially trained, even ordinary family pets have been known to risk their lives to save their humans. They've run into burning buildings, fought off dangerous animals, jumped into water to save drowning children, all without any training or commands, simply because they care." Red Scale turned to his tactical officer. "Blue Spine, what would it take to fight a species that has 900 million willing, intelligent, naturally loyal defenders?" "Sir," Blue Spine answered carefully, "based on what we've seen today, I wouldn't want to try, especially since we have to fight their human partners too. The combined force of both species working together." "Exactly." Red Scale faced the screen again. "Captain Jack, I believe we need to reconsider our approach to Earth. Instead of demanding submission, perhaps we should be asking for lessons." "Lessons, Commander." "Yes, your species has achieved something we never even thought to attempt. True partnership with another form of life. The strength this has given you, it's not something that can be taken by force. It must be earned through trust and respect." He paused, choosing his words carefully. "Would your people be willing to teach us?" Jack looked down at Max, who gazed back with those intelligent eyes. "What do you think, boy? Should we show them how humans and dogs learn to work together?" Max's tail wagged as he let out a happy bark that echoed through both ships' communication systems. Several alien crew members jumped, but this time not in fear, more in surprised recognition of the obvious joy in the sound. "I believe that's a yes," Jack laughed. "Though I should warn you, Commander, this won't be a quick or easy process. True partnership takes time, patience, and most importantly, love." "Love?" Red Scale tested the unfamiliar concept. "Your people would share such knowledge with a species that just threatened you." "Of course," Jack said simply. "That's another lesson humans have learned from dogs, the capacity for forgiveness and the willingness to make new friends." He reached down to scratch Max's ears. "After all, if our ancestors could turn wolves into loyal companions like Max here, surely we can help your people understand the power of partnership." Max stood up and walked closer to the screen, sitting down directly in front of Red Scale's image. His posture was relaxed but dignified, exactly like a diplomat offering friendship while maintaining professional boundaries. "I think," Red Scale said slowly, "this may be the beginning of a very different kind of invasion. One of ideas rather than force." He straightened up. "Captain Jack, please inform your leaders that the Galactic Dominion would like to open formal diplomatic relations with Earth. And perhaps you could bring Max to the first meeting. Jack grinned. I'm sure that can be arranged. After all, who better to teach the power of partnership than one of Earth's finest partners? As if to seal the agreement, Max gave one final, friendly bark, a sound that would be remembered in galactic history as the moment when conquest gave way to cooperation, all thanks to a human's trust in his dog.